Hello, how are you? Today I brought you a soup recipe that a follower of the channel made, and she told me that she managed to lose 60 pounds using this recipe. I love the recipe. I just tweaked a few little details to make sure it had plenty of protein, lots of fiber, and I added some seasonings with anti-inflammatory potential. I'm sure you're going to love it. Soup can be great as a complement to the weight loss process because you can freeze it ahead of time and avoid falling into the temptation of ordering food, right? You're going to love this recipe because on top of everything else, it's super tasty and helps gut health. Stick around until the end because you won't want to miss this. Before we start this delicious recipe, which besides everything else is low in calories, low in carbohydrates, and contains a good amount of protein and fiber, so it really keeps you full, I want to ask you, what's your favorite soup? Write the name of your favorite soup for me down below in the comments. I'd love to see your recipe and I'd love to read your comment. And tell me, when you're making the base of your soup, do you sauté the ingredients or just throw everything in? I'd love to know your little details. Remember to like the video, that really helps me out here on the channel. And share it with anyone you think might need it. A lot of people need healthy go-to recipes. They're always lifesavers in our daily routine, right? So let's grow our circle of good. And also remember that I always leave it down here for you, the ingredients with their quantities and nutritional information, so you can get the recipe just right. So let's get started, like I already told you, by making a good sauté for the base of our soup. I've got my wonderful olive oil here, and I'm going to start by browning our onion. I love sautéing the seasoning ingredients here because honestly, it makes a huge difference in the soup. Personally, I don't like that kind of soup where you just throw everything into the water and wait for it to cook. I think it turns out kind of bland, you know? I prefer the sautéed onion, then we add the rest. This really brings out the flavors. You know, it changes the flavors a bit, so I personally need to do it this way. I don't even need to tell you that onion is a food that's been studied for many years, especially regarding its potential to even boost our immunity. We know that many people who are in the process of losing weight can catch more colds or get sick more often because they might drastically reduce their calorie intake. This can also harm your metabolism and immune system, and onion, as a complement, can help you with that. So let's give this a good sauté. The smell of sautéed onion, to me, is the smell of mom's cooking. So I'll wait for this to sauté it, and then we'll continue from there. Now that the onion is looking more translucent, I'm going to add a little bit of salt here because this will also help draw out the water from the onion and make it get more golden. I'm also going to add the garlic now. I chopped this garlic 15 minutes earlier to help convert more allicin. Allicin is wonderful too. It's a bioactive compound widely studied by science for its potential to help control blood pressure, reduce swelling, and boost immunity. And of course, it also adds that classic garlic and onion flavor, which is something we always want. Now I'm going to add the chicken breast. I've already cut it into small cubes, so it can brown here along with our seasonings. The chicken breast is going to provide the protein for our recipe. Remember, chicken breast is a high biological value protein, and it's a very lean meat with little saturated fat, so it will help keep the calorie count lower. We know that fat from meats adds a lot of calories to soups. So using a leaner meat like this makes perfect sense. I'm going to add the tomato here as well. Remember, it's going to wilt in just a bit. And tomatoes are also super rich in fiber, carotenoids, and have very few calories and very little carbohydrate. But since it's going to wilt soon, shrink down here, it still keeps its fiber and helps give that flavor we like. For now, I'm going to wait here before adding the seasonings and the rest of the ingredients. Because like I told you, this tomato is still going to wilt a bit, so I'm going to wait about 2 minutes and then I'll be back. Look, it's already sautéing nicely and I didn't add any water at all. See how much water comes out of the tomato, the vegetables, and even the chicken itself, right? Now I'm going to add a bit of turmeric here, remembering that turmeric contains curcumin, so it's a powerful natural antioxidant, a wonderful natural anti-inflammatory. And the black pepper that I'm adding now further enhances the absorption, the bioavailability of this curcumin because of the piperine. I'm also going to add a little bit of cayenne pepper here and a bit of oregano, which was a tip from one of my followers. She thinks it gives the seasoning a more Mediterranean touch. And she loves that. In fact, I think that if you like soup, varying the seasonings always helps you avoid falling into that monotony, which sometimes happens. Everything ends up tasting very similar. And the oregano here, I tried it in the soup. It gives it a really special kick. I suggest you try it with oregano. And it also really helps with digestion and gas, you know? So it's a great addition. I'm going to add the chayote now. You can use zucchini if you prefer. Remember that chayote is super rich in fiber, has great water content, and is high in potassium. It also helps with the metabolic process. It helps drain excess fluid and helps with that bloating we sometimes get. I'm going to add the carrot now. Lots of insoluble fiber. So this is really wonderful for your gut. Try it and you'll love it. And also remember that carrots, because they contain carotenoids, have a very interesting antioxidant effect as well. And finally, I'm going to add the cabbage here. Remember, cabbage is basically fiber and antioxidants, an excellent addition. I love soup with cabbage. I think it tastes really great. I'm not going to add all the cabbage right now because the vegetables will wilt. I'll just add a little and then I'll use the rest later, okay? Don't worry about it. So here's what I'll do. I'll add a bit, cover it with a little water as well, and don't fill it all the way up with water because otherwise it'll make a mess on your stove. I'll fill it up to here and close it because the steam will help to soften it, and then I'll stir everything together. I think I've mentioned the benefits of cabbage before, right? Sometimes I stop to do something here, but it's an antioxidant, super rich in fiber, really helps with satiety, and adds a lot of volume. Remember that I have a video here talking about the volumetric diet, where I talk a lot about these foods that are super rich in fiber and water and have few calories, which really helps a lot in the weight loss process, as a complement. So I'm going to wait for this, let it shrink down, add the rest of the cabbage and water. When it's at just the right point, I'll come back here to let you know how to consume it, combinations or not. So we'll be right back. Look, I added all the cabbage here afterwards. I'm even taking it out carefully because my pot is really full, but look how wonderful this soup looks. Do you prefer chunky soup or blended? Write to me down here in the comments. Before I try this soup, it's actually good that it cools down because it's boiling hot here. I want to tell you a few important things. First, this soup is wonderful and it can help you lose weight, but the soup isn't a miracle. It's not going to work miracles. You have to use the soup to help you. So there's no point in having a bowl of this soup here for dinner and then for dessert, have a tub of ice cream. If the rest of your diet is completely unbalanced, super high in calories with lots of processed foods and a lot of fat throughout the day. So that's it. Nutritional balance, nutritional education. I have videos here talking more about nutritional re-education, about low carb diets, about different types of diets for weight loss, because what works for one person doesn't always work for another. And if you're not on a low carb diet and want to add some sweet potato or other starchy roots like yuca, cassava, or yams, which are all wonderful, you can definitely add those too. This was my follower's recipe because she was on a low carb diet, but it's always up to you. If you have any health issues or if you're unsure about whether you should make this soup or not, just ask your local nutritionist or your doctor who follows your case, okay? Remember that this video is for informational purposes only. And you always ask me, how many bowls can I eat? How many ladles? It will vary from person to person depending on the rest of your diet and on how much you need to lose and everything else. I think one plate of this is already quite filling, at least for me. Tell me how it is for you. I'd love to see your comment. Take a look at my soup recipe playlist. There are a lot of amazing recipes there. Share it with someone who will like it, with someone who needs it, right? A lot of people need a healthy, practical option like this, something you can have ready to go there, in the fridge or freezer, right? And this is a wonderful option. Leave a like on the video too. Let's grow our chain of good. Help me help you as well. I want to try it, but it's so hot here, it's even hard to hold. Let me see if I can manage here. I love soup. For me, soup with carrots and cabbage tastes like grandma's soup. Make it at home. You're going to love it. It's wonderful. See you next time. Bye.